Woo! Talk show! Tom's Talk Show, yeah!
Hi, I'm Thomas Kennel, and I'm here on Tom's Kennel Talk Show. Woo! Today I have three guests, Kent, Albany, and Edgar. I'm going to try and figure out what happened throughout the endeavors of Britain and France's fight. Today, first, we have Kent. Kent is a nobleman of the same rank as Gloucester, who is loyal to King Lear. He's extremely loyal, but he gets himself into trouble by being extremely blunt and outspoken. Kent, why did thee stand up for thy master's daughter, Cordelia?
To plainness honours bound when majesty stops to folly. Reserve his state and his hideous rashness. Answer my life, my judgment. His youngest daughter did not love him the least. Now are these empty-hearted whose low sound reverbs no hollowness.
Ah, that's very interesting, Kent. Well, Kent, how does thy think weather played a role in Lear's actions?
Lear acted like a storm, his thoughts fluctuating wildly like the wind. His anger arises strong and fast as lightning strike. I hear Lear shout, rumble thy bellyful, spit fire, spout rain. Near rain, wind, thunder, fire are my daughters. I tax you not, you elements, with unlandness. I never gave you kingdom, called your children, you owe me no subscription. Then let fall your horrible pleasure. Here I stand, you slave abhor, in form weak and despised old man. He is angry at thy daughters, but saddened by his fate at the same time. This mind is cloudy and cannot focus on one thing. King Lear is more storm than man.
Seems like that old man was very hard to deal with. Why dost thou think knights and servants were so important to Lear?
The knights and servants represented more than just safety to Lear. It represented his power and control. When Lear lost his knights, he lost control. He was reduced to a beggar, an animal, for the only thing that separates man from beast is our wants and desires. Lear expressed this pain when he said, "O reason not thy need. Our basest beggars are the poorest things superfluous. Allow not nature more than nature needs. Man's life as cheap as beasts." Lear feels that he has been reduced to the level of a beast.
Ah, that's very interesting, Kent. Let's move on to Edgar. Edgar, Gloucester's older, legitimate son. Edgar plays many different roles, appearing as an armored champion to avenge his brother's treason. Edgar, how do you think Gloucester's blindness symbolized his relationship with his sons?
Gloucester was blind to the fact that Edmund was manipulating him and I. My father was told lies about me. His ears only heard false information and his eyes saw nothing, for he was blind. He was blind before the loss of his eyes because he knew nothing of Edmund's true motives and his cynical thoughts.
Wow, it seemed like Gloucester was blind. Edgar, why do you think Edmund decided to betray you and your father?
My brother was a short-sighted man, and his father's cruel jokes in society that pushed Edmund down this dark path. He rejected our laws and traditions in favor of the laws and traditions, eminently more practical and useful. I found this ironic, since Edmund said, "Thou nature art my goddess, to thy law my service are bound." Edmund says he adheres to nature's law, but goes against all of them for his own gain.
Seemed like Edmund had lots of douchebaggery. Edgar, how did your role as Poor Tom help you persevere throughout your endeavors?
I found comfort in Poor Tom's character. The wheel of fortune had turned and my life came crashing down around me. At first, Poor Tom was only a disguise, but as time passed, the more I became Poor Tom, the more I forgot my past life. No, my name is lost. By treason's tooth bar grown and canker bit, my life was lost. All I cared about was avenging my father. When I did, justice was paid.
You're an amazing guest, Edgar. Now we have Albany. Albany, husband of Lear's daughter Goneril. Albany is good at heart and eventually denounces and opposes the cruelty of Goneril of Regan in Cornwall. Yet he is indecisive and lacks foresight, realizing the evil of his allies too late.
I am not fit to run England. I was indecisive throughout these endeavors. Even when I clued in on Edmund, Goneril, and Regan's wrongdoings, Edgar was the one to kill Edmund, not I. I'm a weak man, not fit to rule a kingdom.
Albany, how did Goneril and Reagan reflect the nature of evil?
Goneril and Reagan's rise to power is not through strength or leadership, but through cunning manipulation. Lear's daughters' cruelty is shown when they treat their father so poorly and they turn Lear into a storm. Goneril and Reagan are, in sense, a personification of evil. They have no conscience, only appetite. It is this greedy ambition that enables them to crush all opposition and make themselves mistresses of Britain. Ultimately, however, the same appetite brings about their undoing, this desire for Edmund, which eventually destroys their alliance and leads them to destroy each other. Evil, inevitably, turns in on itself.
Yeah, Goneril and Reagan were quite the bitches. Well, that's all the time we have for today, folks. Next week, we're interviewing the ghost of Osama bin Laden.